Chosen one. Listen closely. October 10 and 11 are not ordinary days. They are not random dates tossed upon a calendar like leaves blown by the wind. They are appointments carved into eternity before you ever took your first breath. You may think it strange, but the very pulse of heaven beats differently when these days approach. You sense it already, an unease, a stirring, a weight pressing on your spirit that refuses to be silenced. There are moments in time when God Himself leans in, when eternity brushes against the ordinary and demands attention. This is one of those moments. These days, October 10 and 11, are more than numbers. They are thresholds. On one side is complacency and comfort. On the other side is awakening, obedience, and destiny. Which side will you stand on? You are not scrolling past this by chance. Heaven has pulled your spirit to pause here because the Father longs to warn you, to prepare you, to place His seal upon you. This is not about fear-mongering, but about truth-telling. Because there are days when ignoring the voice of God becomes too costly, think of time as a great river. For most of the year, it flows steadily, but certain bends, certain turns, become dangerous rapids. October 10 and 11 are such bends. If you drift mindlessly, the current can swallow you. But if you pay attention, if you hold firm, you will pass safely through and emerge stronger. Chosen one. Remember this, you are not like the rest. You were not born to blend into the masses. You carry a light that darkness cannot comprehend. And when certain days arrive, that light either burns brighter through obedience or flickers dangerously when neglected. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 21. How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow Him. These words are not bound to the past. They rise again now, pointing straight at October 10 and 11. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young person who carried the mark of being chosen but did not yet understand its weight. For years, they prayed for purpose, begged for breakthrough, and longed for a sign. And when a day like October 10 came, heaven whispered, "Turn aside, pay attention. This is a crossing point," but they brushed it off, telling themselves it was only another ordinary day. The result, opportunities missed, delays prolonged, lessons repeated. What should have been a season of elevation became another cycle of wilderness, wandering. You cannot afford to repeat their mistake. The difference between delay and destiny is often one simple act of obedience. That is why I tell you with urgency, October 10 and 11 are not days to ignore, not days to take lightly. Picture a crown waiting in a secret chamber. The king has already fashioned it, already placed jewels of endurance and faith into its setting. But the crown is not placed upon just anyone. It is reserved for the one who endures the test, who heeds the warning, who listens when others laugh. Could it be that these 2 days are your proving ground? Could it be that the heavens themselves are watching how you respond? If your spirit is stirring right now, do not harden your heart. This is not a passing thought. This is a divine interruption. It is a call to prepare, to fasten your armor, to awaken your spirit. For what comes on October 10 and 11 is not meant to destroy you, it is meant to reveal you. Yet hear this as well, the same fire that purifies gold consumes straw. What strengthens the faithful shakes the careless. That is why some will rise after these days, while others will sink. Which testimony will be yours? You must choose. You must decide that you will not walk blindly, and part of your choice begins right now. In how you respond. Do not be silent. Lift your voice. Take your stand. Chosen one. If this word resonates in your spirit, do not keep it to yourself. Like, share, and let others know that there is a prophetic date approaching that cannot be ignored. Subscribe so you do not walk this journey alone. And in the comments, type this number as a prophetic act, 777. Let it be your seal, your public declaration that you acknowledge the warning and you choose obedience. Heaven is watching. October 10 and 11 are waiting, and your destiny is calling. Chosen one. Time itself bends in strange ways when heaven decides to speak. October 10 and 11 are not simply written on your calendar, they are suspended moments, carved out by God to interrupt the rush of ordinary life. It is as though the hand of the Eternal reaches down, presses pause on the noise, and calls your soul into silence so that you might hear what you would otherwise miss. You have felt this before. Think of the times when your life slowed in a way you couldn't explain. A door you expected to open suddenly froze. A conversation you thought would happen was postponed. A journey you were about to take was delayed by hours or days. At the time, you grew frustrated, perhaps even angry. But later, you realized those pauses kept you from walking into harm. What looked like inconvenience was divine protection. That is what these days represent. October 10 and 11 are not about rushing ahead. They are about listening, about standing still long enough for God to reveal what lies beneath the surface. Imagine a lake at dawn. If the wind stirs the waters, you see only ripples and distortion. But when the air stills, the reflection becomes clear. In the same way, when God stills your life, you begin to see truth that was hidden by the constant motion of your routine. You may wonder, why these days? Why now? The truth is that heaven has always chosen moments of interruption to bring revelation. Consider Moses. He was not searching for God when the burning bush appeared. He was tending sheep, living out another ordinary day. When eternity split into his wilderness and demanded attention, or think of Saul on the road to Damascus. His journey was violently interrupted by light and voice, and everything changed. Interruptions are often invitations. Chosen one. Perhaps you feel restless because you are being called into one of these invitations. October 10 and 11 are days when God presses pause on your distractions. Not to punish you, but to awaken you. They are days when you will either recognize the sacred silence or fill it with noise. A young woman once shared her story. For months, she prayed for direction in her career. But every attempt she made to move forward collapsed. On October 11 of one year, she stayed home, frustrated by another cancelled meeting. In her stillness, she opened the scriptures, and a single verse leapt from the page, giving her the answer she had begged for over months. Later, she confessed, "If that meeting had gone through, I would have missed the voice of God entirely. What seemed like loss was timing. What felt like delay was mercy." Do you see the pattern? These 2 days may hold the same kind of divine delay. You may try to move, but the door will not budge. You may try to plan, but the plan unravels. instead of fighting it. You are called to discern it, to recognize that when God suspends time, He is not robbing you, He is preserving you. There is an image I want you to hold. Think of an arrow. Before it flies forward, it must first be drawn backward. The tension of being pulled back is not the end of the arrow's journey, it is preparation for its release. So it is with your life. October 10 and 11 may feel like being pulled back, slowed down, even restrained. But those who mistake the pause for punishment will miss the launch. Those who discern the pull will understand. The pause is positioning. We are reminded through the writings in the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 26. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. October 10 and 11 are crossroads. You will either rush past them, or you will stop long enough to choose the good way. Rest will not be found in frantic striving, but in pausing to listen. So, do not despise these days. Do not grow angry if plans shift, if silence grows heavy, if your usual rhythm is disrupted. Instead, lean into it. Ask questions you have avoided. Sit with God in ways you have neglected. Let the silence teach you what the noise has drowned out. For it may be that in these 2 days, heaven is whispering answers you have sought for years. Time is not slipping from you. Time is being held for you. The pause is not empty, it is full. And the one who governs time itself has chosen these days to meet with you. Chosen one. There is something you must understand about October 10 and 11. These are not merely holy interruptions. They are contested days. Heaven has marked them, but so has hell. The same way a shepherd circles a date for harvest, the enemy circles the same date for sabotage. What God has set apart for awakening, the kingdom of darkness seeks to twist into confusion. You have felt this tension before, the strange heaviness that presses on certain nights, the sudden opposition that arises when you step toward obedience, the battle that seems to intensify for no reason. That is not coincidence. It is the clash of calendars. The enemy has always attempted to hijack God's appointed times. When Israel was called to worship, the nations around them bent the same dates for idols and sacrifices of darkness. What God declared holy, they defiled. What God designed for covenant, they turned into counterfeit. It is the same now. October 10 and 11 are moments of decision. On those days, your obedience is not just about you, it reverberates in the unseen realm. Your yes strengthens the ranks of light. Your silence gives the shadows permission to linger. This is why you have been feeling the resistance even before the date arrives. The enemy prepares his nets early, but God is preparing your feet to avoid them. Think of it like 2 armies setting camp on the same field. One builds altars of prayer, the other digs pits of despair. And there you stand, in the middle, called to choose which side you will give your energy, your words, your focus. That is why your discernment matters so much in these days. Consider the story of Nehemiah. As he rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem, enemies arose to stop him. They mocked. They threatened. They plotted to draw him away from the work. Yet Nehemiah refused to step off the wall. He said plainly, "I am carrying on a great project and cannot go down." In other words, I will not leave God's calendar for the enemy's agenda. Now, this is the kind of resolve you must carry into October 10 and 11. Not distracted, not intimidated, fully aware that your assignment is under surveillance, fully convinced that obedience is the only safe ground. We read in the book of Nahum, chapter 1, verse 7, "The Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble. He cares for those who trust in him." When the clash intensifies, remember this: your safety is not in avoiding battle, but in trusting the one who has already declared victory. And now, chosen one, you must act with clarity. Do not allow this word to pass through your ears and vanish. Plant it in your spirit by declaring it with your mouth, or in this space, with your hands. Write in the comments these words: "My steps are guarded." Why this phrase? Because it is not just a statement, it is a shield. When you write it, you are confessing that your journey will not be hijacked by darkness, that even if the enemy plots, he cannot trap you. You are acknowledging that God has gone before you into October 10 and 11. You are clothing yourself in the promise that every step you take is watched over, directed, and shielded. When you declare it publicly, you are not only speaking over your own life, you are joining a chorus of chosen ones across the world who will stand in agreement. Imagine it, hundreds, maybe thousands, all typing the same words. Together, it becomes a banner raised over the battlefield. The enemy cannot ignore it. Heaven rejoices in it, and your own spirit strengthens under it. So do not delay. Say it, type it, mark it. Let it echo in your heart as you walk into these contested days. My steps are guarded. The clash is real, but your footing is secure. October 10 and 11 will test the wavering, but those who stand in faith will find their path lit with victory. Understand this, chosen one. Spiritual battles are not fought with noise, but with alignment. When you choose light, when you confess truth, when you anchor yourself in God's promises, you are already winning. The enemy fears the one who is steady, not the one who shouts loudest. Your declaration, "My steps are guarded," is more than words. It is like placing a seal on your journey, reminding every dark force that you are not walking alone. Every guarded step becomes a testimony that your life is untouchable without God's permission. So carry this phrase into your days. Whisper it when fear rises. Speak it when temptation presses close. Remember it when October 10 and 11 arrive. Your steps are not wandering. They are guided. Your path is not fragile. It is fortified. And you are not alone. You are kept. Chosen one. The unease you have been carrying is not random. The nights you toss and turn, the mornings you wake with questions heavy on your chest, these are not accidents. They are signals, like tremors before an earthquake. Warnings that something beneath the surface is shifting. October 10 and 11 are not approaching in silence. Your spirit has already heard their footsteps. There is a wisdom in recognizing what your body and soul have been whispering to you. Some call it intuition. Others call it discernment. But for those marked by heaven, it is deeper than that. It is the Spirit of God alerting you ahead of time, stirring your heart so you do not stumble blindly into what lies ahead. Think of Joseph in Egypt. Before the famine struck, God sent him dreams, and then placed him in position to interpret Pharaoh's dream. 7 years of plenty were not given for indulgence, but for preparation. The warning arrived early, so that when hunger came, God's people were already ready. What Joseph carried was not fear, but foresight. In the same way, The unease within you is not to paralyze you, it is to prepare you. The truth is, those who belong to God often sense storms before they arrive. They feel a heaviness in the air when others are laughing. They notice a silence in their spirit while others are rushing about. This sensitivity is not weakness, it is evidence of being chosen. A soldier who cannot hear the trumpet is useless in war, but one who listens at the faintest sound is already ahead of the enemy's strike. Perhaps you have thought you were overreacting. You told yourself you were just anxious, just tired, just reading too much into small things. Yet deep down you know, these feelings are not ordinary. They are echoes of something greater. Your sleepless nights are not wasted hours. They are watchtowers where God is keeping you awake so you can remain alert. Imagine a lighthouse on a cliff. It does not wait until the ship has crashed to turn on its light. It shines long before danger, cutting through fog so sailors steer clear of disaster. Your spirit is that lighthouse. The stirring, the unease, the discomfort, it is all light piercing through fog, warning you of rocks ahead. We find in the book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 7, "Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants, the prophets. This is not limited to ancient voices. Even now, he reveals warnings, whispers, and signs to those who are listening. He alerts before he acts. He stirs before he shifts. Your task, then, is not to silence the signals, but to lean into them, to sit with them long enough to ask, Lord, what are you saying? What am I to prepare for? Do not rush past these inner tremors. They are not meant to torment you. They are meant to guide you. Consider again how you have walked through the last season. Think of the delays, the closed doors, the strange heaviness that came out of nowhere. Were these random, or were they pieces of a puzzle pointing you toward these very dates? Sometimes, what feels like resistance is not the enemy, but God Himself slowing you down to prepare you for something larger. Chosen one. The unease you feel is mercy in disguise. It is God's kindness to trouble your spirit before the storm, so you are not caught unaware. It is His love that keeps you awake, His protection that refuses to let you move blindly. Do not despise it. Do not brush it away. There is another image for you. A mother bird will often rustle and disturb her chicks before a storm arrives. The chicks may not understand why they are being nudged out of comfort, why the nest feels unsettled, but the disturbance is the mother's way of preparing them, urging them to shift, to hide, to be safe. In the same way, your unease is God's nudge, pushing you from complacency into vigilance. And here is the paradox. What begins as unease often ends as clarity. The very nights you question may soon become the nights you look back on and say, that was the moment God warned me. That was when He saved me from disaster. What feels burdensome now will soon be remembered as protection. So take the stirring seriously. Journal it. Pray through it. Ask God to confirm it in His Word. And when October 10 and 11 arrive, you will not be shaken, because your heart will already know, I saw this coming. I was warned. I am ready. And your sleepless nights are not wasted. Your restlessness is not failure. They are signs that heaven is speaking. And you are one of the few who has ears to hear. Chosen one. Delaying obedience has always been dangerous. The whisper of, I'll do it tomorrow, is often the very chain that binds a soul. October 10 and 11 are not dates to postpone, not moments to brush aside. These are days where hesitation can cost clarity, where delay can harden the heart. Think of Israel in the wilderness. Again and again, they delayed trust. They saw manna fall. They watched water gush from a rock. Yet, when the time came to enter the promised land, they hesitated. Fear whispered louder than faith, and their delay cost them 40 years of wandering. What could have been entered in days became a lifetime of circles. Delay is not harmless, it multiplies loss. You may have been telling yourself that you are not ready, that you need more time, more signs, more proof. But heaven is clear. Time is not a toy. There are windows you cannot climb through once they are shut. And October 10 and 11 are such windows. I want you to see delay for what it truly is. Imagine a candle burning in the wind. You tell yourself you will shield it later. But each second the flame weakens. By the time you stretch out your hand, the light may already be gone. That is how procrastination steals destiny, not in one violent blow, but in a quiet fading. The Word of God warns us in the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 3, verse 15, "Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as you did in the rebellion." Notice the word today, not tomorrow, not next week. When the Spirit stirs, the response must be now. Chosen one. This is why these 2 days matter. Not because God is cruel, not because he is rushing you, but because he knows the weight of hesitation. One missed moment can spiral into years of regret. One ignored whisper can close an entire season. That is why the unease has been strong. That is why the warnings are loud. It is mercy, not condemnation, that urges you forward. There is a story of a young man who always told himself he would surrender. Someday he would pray deeply. Someday he would forgive. Someday he would obey the nudge in his spirit. But the days stretched. Years passed. And someday never arrived. By the time he looked back, he saw that his delay had cost him relationships, opportunities, and peace that could have been his long ago. His greatest regret was not what he did, but what he delayed. Do not let this be your story. Do not give October 10 and 11 the power to slip through your fingers. See them for what they are: invitations, thresholds, doors opening only for a time. And now, chosen one, let me speak to your heart about your response. When truth pierces you, there are always 2 choices: close your hand or open it. Closing feels safe, but it leaves you empty. Opening feels vulnerable, but it allows you to receive. This message is not meant to trap you in fear. It is an open hand extended, waiting for yours to meet it. That is why I invite you, not with pressure, but with beauty, to join in this journey more deeply. When you like, it is as though you are lighting another candle, letting this flame be seen beyond your own room. When you share, it is as though you are carrying living water to someone thirsty, someone you may never know, but who desperately needs this warning. And when you subscribe, it is as though you are planting your roots beside streams of living water, choosing to stay nourished season after season, not drifting away when storms shake. None of these are chores. They are acts of agreement. They are ways of saying, I will not delay. I will choose today. Just as you step through spiritual doors by obedience, you step into community. into light, into growth. When you act here, do not let hesitation rob you, even now. The invitation is tender but strong. Lift your hand, open your heart, and step forward without delay. October 10 and 11 are coming, but you will not face them empty. You will face them prepared, awake, and aligned with heaven's timing. For every delay broken, a chain falls. For every step you take today, your tomorrow shines brighter. Do not look back in regret. Look forward in resolve. The flame of your obedience will not just light your path, it will ignite courage in those still stumbling in shadows. Your choice to act now writes a testimony that others will read for years to come. Chosen one. October 10 is not an ordinary square on the calendar. It is a door. And not every door is made of wood and hinges. Some doors are invisible. Yet when you pass through them, everything changes. This day is such a threshold. Heaven will use it to test the posture of your heart. It is not about performance, not about perfection, but about obedience. Will you hear and heed, or will you ignore and drift? Every generation of God's people has faced such doors. Adam and Eve had theirs in the garden, obey and remain in paradise, or take and fall. Israel had theirs at the border of the promised land, believe the promise, or bow to fear. Even Jesus faced one in Gethsemane, surrender to the Father's will, or escape the pain. Doors are always about choice, not chance. October 10 is your Gethsemane in miniature. It may not be dramatic, but it will be defining. It may come in the form of a decision you must make, a temptation you must refuse, or a whisper you must obey when no one else understands. Heaven will watch to see whether you step through in surrender, or whether you shrink back. There is an image that captures this truth. Imagine a locked chest filled with treasure. The key is small, almost fragile, but the one who chooses to use it gains access to wealth beyond imagination. October 10 is such a key. Obedience may seem small, but it unlocks the chest of favor, clarity, and protection waiting on the other side. Scripture gives us this reminder in the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 15. Choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Notice again the emphasis on this day. Choice is not eternal in its delay. Choice must be lived in the moment. Perhaps you are wondering what this door will look like for you. It may not be obvious at first. It could come disguised as an interruption, a delay, or even a conflict. Sometimes the doorway of obedience looks like frustration until you recognize its true form. Do not miss it, because it looks ordinary. The greatest thresholds rarely come wrapped in glory. They come in hidden garments, waiting to see if you will discern. A story comes to mind of a young believer who faced his October 10 years ago. He was offered a chance to join a business that promised quick money, but required him to compromise his integrity. On the surface, it looked like success, but in his spirit, he felt unrest. That day he said no, and though his friends mocked him, years later he realized that choice preserved his destiny. The company collapsed in scandal, but he remained untouched. His door of obedience was his deliverance. So it will be for you. October 10 may look like just another day, but it carries eternal weight. It is not about what others see, but about how heaven records One step of obedience may look small on earth, but it shakes foundations in the unseen. This is why you must prepare now. Sharpen your ears. Ready your heart. Do not say, "I will decide later." Later is too late. The door opens for a moment. Then it closes, and those who hesitate are left standing outside, regretting that they did not move when they could. The Lord is not asking for perfection. He is asking for a willing heart. The door of October 10 is not there to condemn you, but to crown you. It is the proving ground where your identity as chosen becomes visible. This is why you feel the weight. This is why your spirit has been stirred. The crown is near, but it rests on the head of the obedient. Now, I ask you for one prophetic act. Write in the comments this number, 4,444. Why this number? Because the number 4 represents foundation, stability, and what is established. Repeating it 4 times is like placing stone upon stone, declaring that your life, your choices, and your future stand firm in God. It is your way of saying, on October 10, my steps are grounded, my heart is steady, my house is built on Him. Simple, clear, and powerful. Just as Israel set up memorial stones to say, God met us here. Your declaration will mark this season as one where you did not hesitate, but obeyed. October 10 is coming. The door will open. Will you walk through it? Chosen one. October 11 does not arrive as a quiet continuation of October 10. It carries its own weight, its own shadow, its own warning. If October 10 is a door of obedience, then October 11 is a test of discernment. Many will stumble not because they refuse to act, but because they cannot recognize the trap hidden in plain sight. The enemy has always worked through imitation. He does not often come with open darkness, but with counterfeit light, just as Pharaoh's magicians imitated the miracles of Moses, just as wolves sometimes wear sheep's clothing, so the adversary will disguise his snare to look like safety. That is why October 11 is so dangerous. It offers the illusion of comfort at the very moment you are called to vigilance. Consider the story of Samson. His strength was undeniable, his calling clear. But his downfall came not through armies, but through subtle deception. Delilah's voice sounded like intimacy, but it carried destruction. He could not discern the trap until it was too late. October 11 carries that same caution. The danger is not always what you fear, but what you fail to question. This day may present you with opportunities that look appealing, decisions that seem harmless, conversations that sound flattering, yet hidden beneath could be compromise. The snare of October 11 is not meant to frighten you, but to lure you into lowering your guard. That is why discernment is your shield. To see not only what is offered, but the spirit behind it. There is an image here. Imagine a fruit that looks perfect on the outside, polished, glowing with color, yet when you cut it open, it is rotten at the core. October 11 is like that fruit. What you see at first glance may not be what you get. This is why you cannot afford to trust appearances alone. We are reminded in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 14, Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. The scripture warns you plainly, the enemy's disguise is not darkness, but false brilliance. He comes not with chains, but with glitter, not with horror, but with imitation of holiness, your preparation, then, is not only to obey, but to discern. On October 11, you must test what you hear, what you see, what you feel. Ask yourself, does this align with truth? Or does it simply flatter my desire? Does this lead me closer to obedience? Or is it pulling me into compromise? A young woman once faced her October 11 without knowing it. She was offered a relationship that seemed beautiful, kind words, promises of care, the appearance of faith. Yet deep within, her spirit felt unsettled. For months she ignored that unease until finally everything unraveled. What looked like love was manipulation. She later confessed, "The signs were there. I just didn't want to see them." That is the power of deception. It thrives where you refuse to ask questions. But you, chosen one, are being warned ahead of time. This day will not catch you by surprise, because you already know its nature. October 11 is a shadow day, one that tests whether you see beyond appearances. The truth is, discernment is not suspicion. It is not paranoia. It is clarity. It is the Spirit whispering to your spirit. Not everything gold is real. Not everything sweet is safe. To walk in discernment is not to live in fear, but to live in awareness. Fear paralyzes. But discernment empowers. And here is the beauty of it. When you discern correctly, you disarm the enemy. His trap becomes useless. His disguise revealed. His scheme undone. What was meant to lure you becomes an altar of victory. For every shadow exposed is a testimony of God's light within you. Think again of the fruit. To the unwise, the rotten core is a disaster, but to the discerning, cutting it open and exposing its emptiness is liberation. You no longer long for what you see, because you understand its truth. This is the gift of October 11, not just survival, but clarity. So when that day comes, do not rush. Pause. Pray. Weigh every decision with care. Do not be fooled by polish or flattery. Look deeper. Ask harder questions. Trust the unease that points you away from destruction. Remember, the Spirit inside you has already seen what your eyes cannot. And if October 10 was the day to choose obedience, then October 11 is the day to hold the line, to refuse to be seduced by shortcuts, to stay awake while others grow sleepy, to remain sharp when others grow careless. In this way, October 11 will not be your downfall. It will be your confirmation. It will prove that your discernment is alive, that your spirit is awake, that your steps are guarded. The shadow day will not define you, because the light within you is greater than the darkness around you. Chosen one. You now see the weight of October 10 and 11 2 days. 2 thresholds. 2 paths. Yet it is not only their separation that matters, it is their connection. Together, they reveal a double-edged warning. Breakthrough or bondage. Sacrifice or surrender. Clarity or confusion. The days stand side by side like twin mirrors, reflecting both possibility and peril. If October 10 is the door, October 11 is the echo. One tests obedience. The other tests discernment. One asks, will you step through? The other asks, will you see clearly? These 2 questions are not random. They are the essence of every chosen journey. Without obedience, Your calling fades into dream. Without discernment, your obedience is easily stolen. Heaven knows this, and that is why these days arrive together. Think of it this way. Obedience without discernment is like planting a seed and then leaving it unguarded in a field of thieves. Discernment without obedience is like guarding an empty plot where nothing has been sown. Both must exist in harmony. That is why October 10 and 11 are paired, to shape you into one who not only acts but also perceives. The scriptures often show us this rhythm. Abraham obeyed when he left his homeland, but he also discerned when God told him not to sacrifice Isaac. Joseph obeyed by refusing Potiphar's wife, but he discerned the meaning of Pharaoh's dreams. Obedience moves you forward. Discernment keeps you safe. Without both, destiny is incomplete. There is an image that may help you grasp this balance. Imagine a bird with two wings. One wing is obedience. The other is discernment. With only one, the bird cannot fly. It spins in circles, vulnerable to predators. With both, it rises above storms. October 10 and 11 are these two wings, given to you, not separately, but as one calling to take flight. We read in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 5, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." Wisdom is the thread that weaves obedience and discernment together. Without it, one will always outweigh the other. With it, you are balanced, steady, prepared. Consider also how the 2 days mirror the story of Peter. On one day, he boldly declared, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." That was obedience in confession. Yet not long after, he rebuked Jesus for speaking of the cross, failing to discern the plan of God. One moment was revelation, the other was blindness. October 10 and 11 hold this same lesson. Great victory can be followed by subtle failure if you are not vigilant. That is why these days must be treated as one whole, not as separate events. Together they form a refining fire, exposing whether you are truly awake. The double-edged warning is mercy. It tells you, do not be content with a single step. Do not think one act of obedience is enough. Watch the next step, for that is where many stumble. A young believer once faced this pattern. On one day, she obeyed the nudge to forgive someone who had deeply wronged her. She felt release, freedom, peace. But the very next day, she was tempted to return to bitterness when gossip arose. Her first act was obedience. Her second test was discernment. By refusing to fall back into resentment, she sealed her victory. The lesson was clear. One day opens the door. The next day keeps it shut against the enemy's hand. The 2 days are also symbolic of seasons. October 10 represents beginnings, the willingness to step out. October 11 représente endurance, the strength to hold ground. One launches you, the other sustains you. What use is a launch if you crash at the first test? What use is endurance if you never begin? Heaven gives you both, so you may finish what you start. Think again of the bird. Rising into the sky is glorious, but staying aloft through wind and rain is the true victory. Both wings must beat in rhythm, or the flight will end. Chosen one. The message of these 2 days is simple yet severe. The path of the chosen is never about one choice alone. It is about a pattern of choices, each connected, each tested. You cannot treat October 10 as a triumph and October 11 as an afterthought. They are bound together, reminding you that destiny is not secured in a single act, but in a consistent walk. So take this as your preparation. Train both wings, your obedience and your discernment. Let wisdom weave them together. Recognize that your future rests not on one day alone, but on the rhythm of many days lived awake, aware, and aligned. The double-edged warning is not here to frighten you. It is here to anchor you. It is here to make sure that when the storm comes, you will not only rise, but remain, chosen one. By now, you see the rhythm of these days. October 10 and 11 do not arrive as casual dates, but as turning points. Together they teach one lesson that cannot be ignored. Disobedience is heavy. Its weight is far greater than you realize. Many believe rebellion is just a choice, a small act, a private moment. But rebellion reshapes the soul. It blinds. It hardens. It steals the very clarity you need to walk forward. The scriptures do not hide this truth. Israel's greatest tragedy was not the armies that opposed them. It was their own refusal to heed God's voice. Every rebellion added another layer of blindness. Every "not yet" became another chain. What should have been a straight path into promise became 40 years of wandering in sand. And here is the danger for you. Delay becomes habit, and habit becomes hardness. The longer you ignore the whisper, the softer it seems, until one day you realize the whisper is gone. Heaven did not stop speaking, but your ears stopped hearing. There is a chilling phrase in the letter to the Romans, chapter 1, verse 28. God gave them over to a depraved mind, so they do what ought not be done. This is the consequence of rebellion repeated. Mercy steps back. The voice once clear becomes distant. The chance to turn is lost because the heart no longer desires to turn. I tell you this not to strike fear, but to awaken urgency. You stand on the edge of days that test more than your schedule. They test your very posture before God. October 10 asks if you will obey. October 11 asks if you will discern. But together, they ask if you will resist the pull of rebellion. A man once confessed his regret, years after ignoring his own. October 10 and 11. I thought I could wait. He said, I thought nothing serious would happen if I delayed. But looking back, I see that was the moment my hunger for God began to die. He had not noticed it immediately. The decline was slow, almost invisible. But years later, he realized those 2 days were a fork in the road, and he had walked away from life. Chosen one. Do not take lightly what rebellion steals. It does not only remove blessings, it removes sight. When you cannot see, you cannot choose rightly. And when you cannot choose rightly, you stumble into traps you never intended to touch. This is why heaven warns you in advance, to give you a chance to say, no, I will not let rebellion mark me. Think of rebellion like smoke filling a room. At first you notice the haze, then your eyes adjust. Soon you breathe it in without realizing the danger, until finally, you collapse under what you once thought was harmless. This is why rebellion is not to be entertained, even once it numbs until it destroys. But here is hope. Conviction itself is proof of mercy. If your heart is stirred as you hear these words, it means your ears are still open. Your spirit is still alive. God has not given you over. He is still calling, still warning, still urging you to turn. That stirring in you is not condemnation, it is invitation. And now it is your turn to speak, not with many words, but with a short declaration that places you firmly on the side of obedience. Write in the comments these words: I refuse rebellion. And why this phrase? Because it is direct. It names the enemy and declares your refusal to bow. It is not vague or hesitant. It is a line drawn in the sand. When you write it, you are saying to heaven, to hell, and to your own soul, I will not carry this weight. I will not walk blind. I choose light. I choose life. I choose obedience. Do not underestimate the power of your own declaration. Words shape destiny. A few words spoken with conviction can shift an entire season, and in this moment, these words are your shield, your stand, your testimony. So let it be clear, October 10 and 11 will not mark you with rebellion, they will mark you with faithfulness, because you chose to refuse the weight and step into the freedom already prepared for you. Rebellion always seeks to disguise itself as freedom, but true freedom is found only in surrender. By declaring, I refuse rebellion, you are stepping out of chains disguised as choices and into clarity that lasts. And when you stand in that clarity, every step forward becomes lighter. You no longer drag the weight of disobedience, but carry the strength of alignment. This is what heaven intended for you, that obedience would not be a burden, but a release into purpose. Chosen one. October 10 and 11 do not simply test your heart in silence, they also reveal who you are becoming. In these days, something sacred takes place. The marked ones begin to rise. You may not see the crown upon your head yet, but heaven does. And the testing of these days is not meant to crush you. It is meant to reveal you. Think about how gold is proven. It is placed in fire, not because the fire destroys, but because the fire uncovers what is pure. In the same way, October 10 and 11 are refining flames. Those who endure are not left in ashes, they emerge shining, set apart, ready to carry weight that others cannot. This is why your journey feels heavier than most. You wonder why others live carelessly, while your spirit stirs at every whisper. You wonder why small choices seem monumental for you, while others laugh them off. It is because you are marked. You are not ordinary soil, you are chosen ground. And what is planted in you demands a deeper care, a deeper fire, a deeper obedience. Consider David. When the prophet Samuel anointed him, no one else in his family saw what was happening. To them, David was still the forgotten shepherd boy. But heaven had already placed a crown in the unseen. That day marked the beginning of years of testing, refining, and proving. David's rise did not happen instantly. It was revealed slowly through battles, betrayals, and waiting. Yet every step confirmed that his head had already been touched by oil. October 10 and 11 carry this same rhythm. They do not crown you instantly in the eyes of men, but they reveal to heaven and to your own soul that the oil is real, the mark is true, and the crown is waiting. We find in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, having stood the test. That person will receive the crown of life." This is not a poetic idea, it is a living reality. The crown of life is not given to the careless, but to the faithful, chosen one. Understand this. Your rise is not about applause. It is not about validation from the crowd. It is about becoming the kind of person who can carry the weight of heaven without collapsing under it. And October 10 and 11 are part of that process. There is a powerful image here. Picture a tree growing in silence. While others only notice its branches, what makes it unshakable is its roots. Storms come, winds rage, but the tree does not fall, because what is unseen is stronger than what is seen. In the same way, your hidden obedience on these days will root you deeply. The world may not notice, but heaven will. And when storms rise later, you will not break, you will stand. This is also why your testimony matters. When you stand faithful, your story becomes light for others. Without even speaking, your life declares, it is possible. Obedience is worth it. Discernment protects. Faithfulness is not in vain. You become a mirror for others still wavering. And that, too, is part of your rising. Now let me speak of your response. Not as a demand, but as a picture. When you like, it is as though you are pressing your seal into soft wax, leaving your imprint that says, I was here. I choose this path. When you share, it is as though you are lifting a lamp from your window and placing it on the road, guiding a traveler you may never meet, but who is searching for light. And when you subscribe, it is as though you are planting your roots in fertile soil, refusing to be scattered by the winds of distraction, choosing instead to grow in a steady flow of nourishment. These acts are not small. They are not trivial. They are living metaphors of what you are already doing in your spirit. They are the visible echo of an invisible choice, and because they are voluntary, they are beautiful. They say to the world and to yourself, I choose to rise. I choose to remain. I choose to keep the flame. October 10 and 11 are refining days, but they are also revealing days. And when the fire passes, when the trap is exposed, when the storm is stilled, what will remain is not your fear, not your hesitation, but your mark. You will know, and heaven will confirm. You are counted among those who endured. So rise quietly, rise faithfully, rise steadily. For the crown is not placed on the one who stumbles away, but on the one who remains until the end. Chosen one. October 10 and 11 are not random fragments of time. They echo patterns that have appeared before. What unfolds in these days mirrors what Scripture has already shown us in stories of covenant, warning, and mercy. To understand their weight, you must look back at how God has dealt with His people in turning points past. Think of Noah. Humanity had grown blind, consumed by violence and corruption. Yet God gave a warning, a window of time to enter the ark. For Noah, obedience preserved a family. For those who ignored, delay became destruction. The days before the flood were ordinary to most, but to those who listened, they were the dividing line between life and loss. October 10 and 11 carry this same dividing line, not by water, but by obedience and blindness. Then consider Lot in Sodom. The city burned with sin. Yet angels came with urgency. Get out, for destruction is near. Lot hesitated, lingering when he should have fled. The mercy of God grasped his hand and pulled him away. But his wife's backward glance sealed her fate. What happened in those moments was more than escape. It was a revelation of hearts. One trusted reluctantly. Another could not let go. The warning is clear when days of separation come. Hesitation is dangerous. There is also Nineveh, a city marked for judgment, yet given 40 days to repent. Against expectation, they listened, from king to servant. They humbled themselves, and the Lord relented. What was meant as a day of destruction turned into a day of mercy because they discerned the season and obeyed. Their story shows the other edge of warning. Even when judgment looms, response can shift the outcome. Now think of Hosea, the prophet called to marry Gomer, a woman whose unfaithfulness mirrored Israel's betrayal of God. His life became a living covenant picture. He showed that even when God's people wander, his voice calls them back. His heart waits with longing. Hosea's story is not about punishment alone, but about relentless mercy, seeking return. October 10 and 11 carry both tones, the severity of judgment and the softness of mercy, depending on your response. These examples are not ancient tales detached from you. They are patterns repeating, rhythms of heaven that mark moments in history. And in your lifetime, October 10 and 11 are placed like mirrors of those stories. They ask, will you be like Noah, entering obedience though mocked, like Lot, hesitant and half-hearted, like Nineveh, quick to humble, or like Hosea's Israel, drifting until mercy grows thin? There is an image that ties these together. Imagine a contract, written clearly, placed on a table. The terms are visible, the signature line waiting. Some read and sign in trust, securing their covenant. Others leave it blank, walking away as though the agreement does not matter. But the covenant still stands. Whether signed or ignored, its weight remains. October 10 and 11 are like that contract, an invitation to seal your alignment with God, or to ignore and drift. We hear this echoed in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 19. This day I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live. The choice is ancient, yet ever new. Heaven watches, earth bears witness, and the choice is laid bare. Do not think these days are small. They are covenant days, where heaven records the posture of your heart, not for condemnation, but for clarity. They reveal what you have truly chosen, not by your words, but by your actions, your posture, your willingness to respond. Chosen one, learn from the past. The stories of Noah, Lot, Nineveh, and Hosea are not there to decorate history. They are warnings and promises for you. To ignore them is to repeat them. To heed them is to rise beyond them. So when October 10 and 11 come, remember the covenant hidden in them. These are not mere numbers. They are mirrors of ancient days, placed before you so you may not wander blind. What you do in them will echo longer than you imagine. Every choice is a seed, and covenant days are the soil. What you plant in obedience grows into covering. What you neglect grows into loss. The echo of these days will follow you, and yet, mercy is woven into the warning. Just as Nineveh's repentance turned wrath into favor, your humble response can turn testing into testimony. Covenant is not a cage, it is an invitation into life preserved and destiny secured. Chosen one. There is something sacred about response. God never speaks in vain, and He never reveals without inviting you to act. October 10 and 11 are not simply dates to notice, they are prophetic seals waiting for you to affirm them. Your choice is the ink. Your obedience is the signature, and your response becomes the seal. The prophets understood this deeply. When Israel heard the voice of God, they were always called to respond, not with silence, but with a mark of agreement. At Mount Carmel, Elijah asked the people to choose. In Nineveh, the king clothed himself in sackcloth to show repentance. Even in the New Testament, the crowds who heard Peter on the day of Pentecost were pierced in their hearts and cried out, "What must we do?" The call of God always demands a response. So too, with you, these days are not meant to pass as information, but as covenantal invitations. What you do with them determines what they will become for you. The word is not complete until it is met with agreement. The scripture reminds us in the book of Haggai, chapter 1, verse 7, "This is what the Lord Almighty says, give careful thought to your ways." Notice that heaven does not simply inform, it requires reflection. Response. Alignment. The word comes, but the weight of it rests on how you answer. October 10 and 11 are not just about seeing the signs, they are about sealing them in your spirit. Sealing is different from knowing. Knowing can remain in the mind, fading over time. Sealing becomes part of your identity, marked deep within, unshaken when storms rise. That is why the prophetic seal matters. It is the difference between a thought and a covenant. Consider how Israel placed blood on their doorposts in Egypt. The blood was not for God's sight alone, it was their act of agreement, their way of saying, "We believe this word, and we stand under its covering." In the same way, your seal in this moment is not superstition, it is declaration. It is your way of saying, "I recognize the weight of these days, and I stand under God's covenant." All three. There is a story of a young believer who once ignored such a moment. They heard the word, felt conviction stir, but told themselves, later never came. The days moved, the season shifted, and what could have been marked became forgotten. Years later, they admitted, "It wasn't that God didn't speak. It was that I didn't respond." The seal had been offered, but never placed. Contrast this with another who, though uncertain and trembling, responded anyway. They made a small act, a simple sign, but it shifted everything. Their heart softened, their path aligned, and they began to see doors open that had once been locked. What changed? Not the message, but the seal of their agreement. And now, chosen one, heaven is waiting for your seal. I ask you to type this prophetic number in the comments. 555. Why 555? Because 5 is the number of grace, the sign of divine favor and empowerment. Repeated 3 times. It declares an abundance of grace, not just enough to survive, but enough to carry you through trials, through October 10 and 11, into the days beyond. It is like saying, "I am marked by grace. I am sealed in favor. I am strengthened by divine help." End of. When you write 555, it is not about digits on a screen, it is about covenant in the unseen. It is a stake in the ground, a seal that says, I have heard, I have understood, I have chosen. It is a way of refusing silence and stepping into alignment. Think of it as a soldier receiving a banner before battle. The banner itself is cloth, but it represents identity, allegiance, destiny. To hold it is to declare, I belong to this side. I march under this covering. So too with your seal of 555. It is more than numbers. It is the banner over your life. Do not underestimate this. Small acts can carry eternal weight. A whisper of obedience can echo louder than the shouts of rebellion. A few digits typed in faith can become a declaration that shakes the unseen. What matters is not the size of the act, but the spirit behind it. October 10 and 11 are moments not just to witness, but to seal. They are days to choose your covenant, to mark your stand, to let heaven and earth see where your heart lies. So do it boldly, do it clearly. Let your response be your seal. And when you step into these days, you will not step in unmarked. You will step in carrying the covering of grace, sealed in covenant, ready to endure and ready to rise. Chosen one. October 10 and 11 are not simply warnings for your behavior, they are revelations of what you already carry. These days do not just test your obedience or sharpen your discernment. They expose the fire inside you, the light that has always been there but often hidden beneath layers of fear, weariness, or doubt. The truth is, you carry something that darkness cannot endure. Your very presence unsettles the plans of the enemy, not because of your strength, but because of the one who dwells within you. When you walk into a room, atmospheres shift. When you open your mouth to speak truth, lies begin to tremble. You may not always see it, but the fire you carry is real. And these days will prove it. Think of Jeremiah. He once tried to silence his voice, weary of the rejection he faced. Yet he declared that the word of God was like a fire shut up in his bones. He could not contain it. That same fire lives in you. It may flicker at times, but it has never gone out. October 10 and 11 are like bellows, stirring the flame into brightness again. There is an image here. Imagine a torch hidden under a covering. The light exists, but no one sees it, and its heat remains locked inside. Yet the moment the covering is removed, the flame bursts forth, lighting the darkness around it. October 10 and 11 are days of unveiling. The covering that has kept your fire hidden will be pulled away, and what has been quiet will burn openly. We hear this truth in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. These words are not just poetry, they are prophecy. They describe your identity, your calling, your role in the divine plan. Light is not meant to blend with shadows. It is meant to expose them. For some of you, this fire has been a burden. You have felt different, misunderstood, even isolated. Others did not grasp why you could not simply fit in, why compromise cut you deeper than it cut them. You carry more because you are meant to shine brighter. The weight of this fire explains why your battles have been fierce, why your nights have been long, why your spirit has often been restless. Darkness resists what it fears. and it fears the fire you carry. But take comfort. The fire is not only for warfare, it is also for guidance. Just as Israel followed the pillar of fire by night, so your flame becomes a direction for others. They may not say it aloud, but they are watching. They see how you endure, how you resist, how you remain faithful. Your life becomes a lantern for those stumbling in the dark. A man once testified of a season where he felt utterly unseen. He wondered if his obedience mattered, if his choices carried any weight. Years later, someone approached him and said, "I watched you in that season. The way you stood when it was hardest gave me strength to keep going." What he thought was hidden fire had actually been a beacon. So too, with you, your fire is already speaking, even when you feel unnoticed. October 10 and 11 amplify this reality. They do not give you a fire you never had. They reveal the fire that has been waiting to show itself. These days press you, and pressing reveals what is inside. Oil releases under crushing. Fragrance comes when spices are ground, and light bursts when the covering is removed. The trials of these days will not extinguish you, they will display you. Remember this also: fire refines. It consumes what is unnecessary, so that only what is pure remains. The flame you carry not only shines outward, it also burns inward, removing distractions, clarifying your heart, purifying your motives. What emerges from October 10 and 11 is not only a witness for others, but also a clearer, freer you. So do not fear the intensity of these days. The fire inside you is not fragile, it is eternal. It cannot be quenched by storms or stolen by shadows. It was placed in you by God Himself, and what He ignites cannot be undone. Chosen one. October 10 and 11 will not diminish you. They will reveal you. They will not bury your flame, they will release it. And when the covering lifts, you will see clearly. The fire you carry is not just for you. It is for a world desperate for light. Chosen one. The weight of October 10 and 11 is not meant to crush you, it is meant to cover you. Many will see those days as storms, but for the one who walks in obedience, they become shelter. What others fear will pass over you, and what others lose will not touch you. This is the mystery of divine covering. The same environment holds judgment for some and protection for others. Think of the night in Egypt when the final plague was released. Darkness and death moved through the land. Yet in the homes marked with blood, peace remained. The cries of mourning rose in the streets, but inside those covered, not even a whisper of harm entered. The difference was not geography, nor status, but obedience. Those who trusted the word and placed the sign were kept. Those who ignored were exposed. October 10 and 11 are not plagues, but they carry the same principle. What others experience as chaos will become clarity for you. Where others feel shaken, you will feel steadied. This is not because you are stronger, it is because you are sheltered. The covering of obedience does not make storms disappear. It ensures the storm cannot destroy you. We see this again in the Psalms. Chapter 91, verse 1. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. The scripture does not promise the absence of danger, but the presence of refuge. The shadow of God becomes the place where arrows cannot pierce, where fear cannot rule, where destruction cannot claim you. Consider Daniel in the lion's den. He was not spared from entering the den. but he was spared from being devoured. His obedience did not erase the trial, but it invited a covering that silenced the mouths of lions. In the same way, your obedience in these days will not prevent every challenge, but it will shield you in the middle of them. There is an image worth holding. Imagine a house built with strong walls and a roof sealed tight. Rain falls. Winds howl. But inside the house, the family sits safe, hearing the storm, but untouched by it. This is the picture of obedience. It builds walls and roofs around your spirit. Without it, the rain soaks and the winds tear. With it, you rest while others run. A woman once shared her story of a season filled with sudden losses in her community. Yet while many around her fell into despair, she experienced unexplainable peace. She described it as a roof I could not see, but I knew it was over me. That is the power of divine covering, unseen but undeniable, invisible but immovable. Chosen one. The covering of obedience is not only for survival, it also becomes a testimony. When others see you standing while everything shakes, they begin to ask why, and your life becomes a living sermon, pointing not to your strength, but to the one who shelters. Yet this covering is not automatic. It rests on trust and surrender. Those who ignored Noah's warning could not enter the ark when the door closed. Those who laughed at Lot did not escape the fire. The covering belongs to those who choose it, who step into it willingly. That is why October 10 and 11 matter. They are days where covering is offered, but not forced. Think again of a shepherd leading sheep. He calls them into the fold before night falls. The fold is protection, but the sheep must enter. Those who linger outside remain vulnerable. The shepherd does not abandon them, but they expose themselves by refusing the shelter. So it is with these days. You are invited into the fold, into the covering of obedience, where no shadow can overcome you. Do not misunderstand. Covering does not mean ease. It means endurance. It does not remove every storm, but it removes fear from the storm. It does not erase every attack, but it disarms their power to destroy. That is why you can walk into October 10 and 11 without trembling. You are not uncovered. You are not exposed. You are wrapped, shielded, hidden in the one who has already overcome. And when the days pass, you will look back and realize what others called disaster became, for you, a demonstration of protection. Where others mourned, you found peace. Where others stumbled, you stood. Where others felt abandoned, you felt covered. Chosen one. The covering of obedience is your portion. Receive it. Walk in it. Trust it. And know this truth: no shadow can swallow the one who abides in the shelter of the Almighty. Chosen one. There is a reason you have always felt different. You were never designed to blend in. October 10 and 11 only confirm what heaven already knew about you, that you are set apart, called to stand when others sit, chosen to shine when others hide. These days are not meant to scare you into obedience. They are meant to remind you of who you are. Think of a diamond. For years, it lies buried, unseen beneath soil and pressure. It cannot blend with stone because its nature is not stone, it is treasure. When unearthed, it catches light in a way nothing else can. October 10 and 11 are like the digging and the revealing. They strip away the soil of compromise, so your true nature is seen. You cannot remain hidden, because heaven has decided it is time for your light to break forth. The prophets always spoke of this tension. God's people could not live like the nations around them. They were meant to be a city on a hill, a kingdom of priests, a people marked. That same truth rests on you. The unease you feel when you try to fit in is not failure, it is evidence. Evidence that your spirit resists blending, that your fire rejects dimming, that your calling refuses to shrink. We are reminded through the letter to the Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 17. Therefore, come out from them and be separate, says the Lord. Touch no unclean thing, and I will receive you. Separation is not rejection, it is invitation. It is the Father saying, I have more for you, but you cannot carry it while clinging to what was never meant for you. I, chosen one, standing apart, will not always be easy. Crowds may mock. Friends might question. Even family may misunderstand. Yet, in the silence of your surrender, you will hear heaven's applause, and the covering you walk under will testify louder than any human opinion. There is an image here. Imagine soldiers lining up for battle. Most wear simple armor, blending into the ranks, but among them stands one with a banner lifted high, marked with colors that cannot be ignored. The banner makes them a target, but it also makes them a leader. That is who you are, the one carrying a banner of light in a generation that prefers shadows. You are not hidden in the crowd because you were not made to be. In this, your response matters, not because heaven needs proof, but because your soul needs expression. When you like, it is like raising that banner higher, letting your light be seen without shame. When you share, it is like handing someone else a torch, saying, Here, I've found the flame. You don't have to stumble alone. And when you subscribe, it is as though you are choosing to pitch your tent among the chosen, declaring that you will not wander alone in the wilderness, but remain in a community of light. And one more, when you comment, it is like carving your name on the covenant wall, a visible testimony that you were here, that you chose, that you stood. Words written in faith are not wasted, they become memorial stones. Like those Israel placed by the Jordan to remind future generations of what God had done, your comment becomes a stone in that wall. These are not digital actions. They are metaphors of your heart. They are not empty clicks, but echoes of eternal choices. And because they are voluntary, they are beautiful. You are not coerced. You are invited. Just as God never forced Noah into the ark, never dragged Lot from Sodom without warning, never pushed Nineveh to repent. He invited, he urged, he called. So too, this is an invitation, not a demand. October 10 and 11 are the proving ground, but beyond them lies your rising, your setting apart, your unveiling as one marked by heaven. The world may call it different, but heaven calls it destiny. And when you respond, even in small acts, you are aligning your visible life with your invisible calling. So let this be your moment. Raise your banner high, pass the torch, plant your tent, carve your name, and know that every act, every step, every response is not wasted. It is recorded. It is remembered. It is honored. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand apart. And when October 10 and 11 pass, you will know. Without doubt, you did not shrink back. You did not fade. You stood marked, chosen, and unshakable. Chosen one. Obedience is never without reward. The path of surrender may feel costly in the moment, but the fruit it bears cannot be measured in ordinary terms. October 10 and 11 are not only days of testing, they are also gateways into acceleration, elevation, and divine protection. What you endure in them becomes the seed of what you will reap after them. Scripture never hides this pattern. Every figure who obeyed in difficulty later walked in reward. Abraham left his homeland and became the father of nations. Ruth clung to Naomi and stepped into the lineage of kings. Esther risked her life and secured the preservation of her people. Their obedience was not convenient, but it was catalytic. It unlocked seasons they could never have entered otherwise. The same is true for you. These days may feel like pressure, but they are in fact preparation. They press you, not to crush you, but to launch you. Obedience may strip away what is shallow, but it strengthens what is eternal. And what comes next is acceleration. Acceleration is not simply speed, it is supernatural progress. It is when years of delay are redeemed in moments, when what was lost is restored in double measure, when what seemed unreachable suddenly comes near because heaven has cleared the obstacles. October 10 and 11 are not meant to stall you. They are designed to break the cycles that held you, to catapult you forward into alignment. Elevation is another gift that follows. Think of Joseph, betrayed, enslaved, imprisoned. Yet every test he endured became the step toward a throne. By the time Pharaoh called him, Joseph had been refined by suffering, proven by faithfulness, and positioned by God. His elevation was not by luck, but by design. He had passed the tests, and reward was inevitable. October 10 and 11 carry that same principle. Your hidden obedience makes you ready for visible elevation. And then comes protection. This may be the most overlooked reward, but it is among the most precious. You may never know how many arrows were aimed at you, but never reached, how many traps were set, but never sprung, how many storms passed near, but never touched. Your obedience is a shield. It places you under the shadow of the Almighty, where destruction cannot define you. There is an image that explains this well. Imagine a vineyard on a hillside. Some vines grow wild, untended, producing bitter grapes, but others are pruned carefully by the vinedresser. The pruning seems harsh, but when the season of harvest comes, those are the vines that carry clusters rich and sweet. Obedience feels like pruning, yet its reward is fruit that lasts. We are reminded in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." This is not empty encouragement, it is a covenant promise. Weariness may tempt you in these days, but harvest is certain. Perhaps you wonder what this harvest will look like in your life. For some, it will be restoration of relationships long broken. For others, it will be clarity of purpose after years of confusion. For others still, it will be open doors in career, ministry, or influence that were locked until now. The form may differ, but the principle is the same. Obedience plants, and obedience reaps. A man once recounted how a single choice of obedience changed everything. He had been offered a business deal that looked profitable but required compromise. He refused, though it cost him dearly. Months later, that same deal collapsed and ruined those involved. But for him, new doors opened, safer and stronger, aligning him with destiny. He said later, "It felt like loss at the time, but it was the doorway to my protection." His story echoes what you must remember: obedience is never wasted. October 10 and 11 are like seeds buried in soil. They may seem small, hidden, even forgotten, but in the right season, they will break forth, bearing fruit beyond what you imagined. The harvest may not appear instantly, but it will come. The soil never forgets what is planted, and heaven never forgets what is offered in faith. So, walk into these days with courage. Do not fear what they strip, for what is taken was never meant to sustain you. Do not dread what they demand, for what they give in return will outweigh the cost. Your obedience is not only noticed, it is recorded. Your endurance is not only felt, it is rewarded. Chosen one. Lift your eyes beyond the testing. See the horizon of reward. October 10 and 11 are not the end of the story. They are the threshold into a harvest that will mark the next chapter of your journey. And when you look back, you will not remember them as days of heaviness, but as the turning point where obedience opened the floodgates of blessing. Chosen one. The days after October 10 and 11 are not meant to feel the same as those before. Something shifts when you step through a divine threshold. What was heavy grows light. What was confusing gains clarity. What was hidden begins to unfold. These days are not only warnings of danger, they are gateways into new mantles of authority. Authority is not a title, nor a position. It is the weight of heaven resting on your life, giving you power to speak and see change, to declare and see alignment, to walk and see doors open. It is the mantle given to those who have proven faithful in small things. When you endure testing days, heaven entrusts you with greater influence because your heart has been refined. Think of Elijah. He faced famine, conflict, and isolation. Yet when he stood on Mount Carmel, calling fire from heaven, his authority was undeniable. That authority was not born in the moment of fire. It was forged in the seasons of waiting, in the quiet obedience before the dramatic display. October 10 and 11 carry that same forging. They are not only moments of testing, they are the furnace where your authority is formed. Authority also changes how the unseen realm views you. In Acts, we read of men trying to cast out demons in the name of Jesus without relationship or obedience. The demons replied, "Jesus I know, and Paul I know, but who are you?" Authority is not borrowed by words, it is carried by lives aligned. When you step faithfully through October 10 and 11, you will not only know who you are, but darkness will know who you are. There is an image for this. Imagine a seal placed on a letter. Before the seal, the letter is just paper. But when the king presses his signet into wax, the letter carries power. It cannot be ignored, for it bears the king's mark. So it is with your life after these days. Heaven presses its signet into your spirit. You carry the king's mark, and nothing in earth or hell can dismiss it. We are reminded in the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 36, you need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised. Perseverance is the key that turns trial into testimony. The promise is not for those who hear only, but for those who endure and finish the test. Your new mantle may not look glamorous at first. It may simply appear as deeper peace, clear vision, greater discernment. But these are the true marks of authority, the unseen shifts that empower visible breakthroughs later. What begins in silence will be revealed in sound. What begins in stillness will be revealed in motion. A young woman once described her turning point. She said, "I walked through a season that almost broke me. But when I came out, I realized people began to listen differently when I spoke. I hadn't sought influence, but authority followed me. That is the difference. You do not chase authority. You carry it because you endured." October 10 and 11 are not just about survival. They are about graduation. They are the exam days that prove you ready for the mantle already waiting. And when you step beyond them, you step into a chapter you could not have written on your own. There is also protection in this mantle. Authority is not just for you, it shields those connected to you. Just as Joseph's elevation preserved Egypt and Israel, so your obedience covers those near you. Authority spreads. It multiplies. What you carry is never just about you. It becomes a refuge for others. Chosen one. Know this. After October 11, you will not walk the same. You will walk heavier with heaven, lighter with burdens, stronger with clarity. The shadows will no longer intimidate you, because your light has been proven, and you will find yourself speaking with confidence, acting with conviction, living with purpose that does not waver. The mantle of authority is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of a new one. It places responsibility on your shoulders, but it also releases resources into your hands. What once felt distant will come near. What once felt impossible will feel inevitable. This is the inheritance of the faithful. October 10 and 11 will pass, but their impact will remain. And when you look back, you will know these were the days heaven set apart to mark you, to test you, to crown you, and to send you forward with authority. Chosen one. You have walked through the weight of October 10 and 11, word by word, moment by moment. These were not ordinary dates, nor was this an ordinary message. Heaven has paused time to warn you, to prepare you, to remind you that you are chosen, refined, and marked. The stories of Noah, Lot, Nineveh, Hosea, Joseph, and David are not distant echoes. They are patterns replaying, rhythms that now find expression in your own journey. The call has never been about fear, but about alignment. You have been reminded that obedience is a door, discernment is a shield, rebellion is a weight, and covenant is a covering. And beyond these truths lies reward, authority, and a future secured in grace. Now, it is your moment to respond, not only inwardly, but outwardly. When you like, you are not just tapping a button, you are saying, "I receive this flame. I will not let it dim." When you share, you are lifting a lamp onto a hill, letting someone else in darkness see the road you have now seen. When you subscribe, you are planting yourself in fertile soil, choosing to grow among those who walk the same path. And when you comment, you are carving your testimony into stone, declaring, "I was here, I heard, I chose." No, do not let these words drift away like wind over sand. Anchor them, seal them. Let your response be the echo of your obedience. your discernment, your rising. The dates will come and go, but your stand will remain. You are chosen. You are marked. You are ready.